Bitcoin started the week with a pump and almost reached the $64,000. This could be the start of Uptober. There is a lot to talk about for Bitcoin, so in this video I will discuss everything what I'm seeing on the charts, and you don't want to miss any of this. I'm also looking at the two altcoins Cardano and Bittensor TAO, but about that later in the video. There's also a lot of interesting data coming into the market for the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETF. So watch this video all the way to the end, like the video, and let's dive right into the charts. So first let's have a look at the Bitcoin CME gap, which was opened at Friday. We saw the CME gap was opened at the $62,407, and I was telling you on my socials that I was expecting that Bitcoin would trade around this level, and that's exactly what Bitcoin did. Of course, we saw a little bit of drop below the CME gap, and later in the weekend we saw a little bit of a rise against this CME gap. But now we closed this gap perfectly short after this weekend was closed, and now we are seeing a pump to the top side. So this is looking very beautiful for Bitcoin, because the CME gap is now closed and we can now aim for higher targets, because we see a huge pump to the top side. We almost reached the $64,000, and now we are seeing this beautiful bullish pennant on the 15-minute time frame. So this is looking very bullish for Bitcoin. And looking at the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin created a beautiful higher low structure, and this was all formed last week, and now we can see a bounce from this huge horizontal resistance and support area, which was turned into support once again. So this higher low play for Bitcoin is everything we want to see on the chart, because we now see a beautiful continuation of the bullish uptrend, and the bullish momentum can now continue to the top side. So let's see if Bitcoin can come back to this previous high, and of course we want to gain this high to create a new higher high. After that we want to create a higher low, and after that also a new higher high, and that would of course indicate a huge bullish trend reversal for Bitcoin. So first we were in this downtrend for Bitcoin on the daily time frame, and now we're in this uptrend. So we always have to trade with the trend, as I'm always saying to you. So for now this beautiful horizontal support was holding strong for Bitcoin, and we are seeing this higher low play, and we are now seeing a separation of this support level. So let's see if Bitcoin can create new highs, and of course we want to gain these previous highs in order to become a little bit more bullish. And on Friday the Bitcoin ETF saw a little bit of a positive day, because we saw a 25.6 million inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs, and this was of course a bullish day after 3 consecutive bearish days. So this could be an indication that this week would also be bullish for Bitcoin, and especially for the ETFs. And last week we also created a new all-time high, but then we saw 3 consecutive bearish days. So let's see if we can create a new all-time high for the total cumulative inflow. And also the Ethereum ETF saw a little bit of a positive day on Friday. We saw a 7.4 million inflows, and that was all because of BlackRock was buying and the Grayscale Ethereum ETF was selling. So this is of course a little bit more bullish than bearish, and we can see in the last few weeks we saw a lot of mixed days. So let's see what the Ethereum ETF can bring us this week. And if we then have a look at the daily chart with a lot of horizontal resistance and support areas, we can see that the beautiful horizontal support was holding strong, and we saw a lot of touch points in the past as support and resistance, and every time we touched this level we saw a price interaction happening. And last week we saw a beautiful bounce from this previous resistance to turn it into support, because Bitcoin is in this uptrend on the daily time frame, as I was saying to you. But after the gain of this previous resistance, we didn't test this as support yet, and that's exactly what we did last week. So now we're seeing a separation of this level, and we're coming to the next big resistance, and that will be around the $64,000. So if Bitcoin manages to break the 64,000 resistance area, we could come back to higher levels, and then the next big resistance will be around the $66,000. So let's see if this could all happen in this week. Another chart on the daily time frame is beautiful to see. We saw Bitcoin came back to these lows, and every time we were at these lows I was telling you that I was buying more BTC. We saw a beautiful bounce from the lower side support for Bitcoin, and we are also seeing a lot of interesting resistance areas coming into play on the daily time frame. And Bitcoin needs to break these horizontal resistance areas in order to become a little bit more bullish. And of course, if we are going to break these previous resistance areas, then Bitcoin can create new all-time highs. But first we need to continue the uptrend to the top side, and then we will see new all-time highs in the coming months. And last week Q4 was starting and we saw a little bit of a red start of the Q4 and also for September. But today we are turning green and this is very beautiful to see. So October is mostly the most bullish month for Bitcoin in the history. And every time September was green in the history, we saw a bullish Q4 with 3 consecutive bullish months. So also this year we had the best September ever in history of Bitcoin. And let's see if we can also see 3 consecutive months of greenish in the Q4. So before the end of 2024, we could potentially see a new all-time high for Bitcoin unfold. And let me know in the comments if you think that Bitcoin is going to create a new all-time high before the 2024 ends. And if we look at the monthly chart, I'm becoming very, very bullish because in history we saw some sort of a consolidation and then the previous all-time high was acting as resistance, and every time we came to this previous all-time high of the previous cycle, we had a little bit of resistance coming into the market, and this is exactly at the point where we are now. So after the resistance was broken to the top side, we saw an exponential move to the top side. So we are currently at the start of this exponential move if the cycle is going to repeat itself. And if Bitcoin is going to have this exponential move to the top side as well, we can see a beautiful exponential move and then we can create new all-time highs, of course. So I think if this resistance is getting broken to the top side, we will see levels around to 100,000 very, very soon. And if we then zoom in a little bit on the monthly chart, we can see these previous all-time highs in the previous cycle, and now we are seeing this consolidation formation and it looks a little bit like a bull flag. So from these bear market lows, we are now in a multi-month consolidation, so we are now consolidating for 8 months. And I think we will see a beautiful breakout in the coming months, and then we create new highs for Bitcoin. And this could all happen before the end of 2024. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Bittensor TAO. I've been talking a lot about Bittensor TAO on my socials. And last week I was saying that I just bought more TAO at the beautiful support area because we saw a little bit of a decline. And at this level I was buying more TAO. And as I was saying that if we're going to drop below this level, I will just buy more TAO. But from this beautiful support, we saw a beautiful bounce to the top side and we're already up for 33%. So that is insane, of course. And we also gained this previous resistance to the top side. So this is looking very beautiful for TAO. And TAO is looking very strong. I already got a lot of DMs from people that they're saying that they made a huge profit on this trade. So congratulations if you took this trade together with me. And I always like to win together with my community. So from now, I'm also taking a little bit of profits, of course, because we could also potentially see a retest of this resistance to turn it into support and then aim for higher targets. And if TAO is coming back to this support area, I will buy more TAO for the long term. Because the breakout target of this huge falling wedge formation isn't even hit yet, and that will be around the $735. So from here we can potentially see another pump for TAO. And I think the $1,000 for TAO is just a matter of weeks. Another very interesting altcoin I've been looking at is Cardano. We can see Cardano is in this multi-falling wedge. We can see a lot of interesting formations unfolding. And we can see a lot of touch points on the top side as resistance. And also on the lower side we can see multiple touch points as support. And inside this falling wedge we can see another trendline resistance was coming into play. And we can see this trendline resistance was broken to the top side by Cardano. So we can see a beautiful pump to the top side. But this resistance was a little bit too strong for now, so we saw a rejection from this level. And also, we tested this previous resistance as support, so we're now coming back to the top side. And let's see if we can also break this top side resistance of this bigger falling wedge. And if Cardano manages to break this to the top side, retest the resistance as support, and then aim for higher targets, we will come back to the breakout target, and that will be around the 52 cents for Cardano. So that is of course a very interesting gain to make, and I also believe that Cardano will see levels around the $3 or $4 in the coming bull market. So let me know in the comments what you think about Cardano, and if you think that Cardano can see levels around the $3 again. So for now it's looking very bullish for Bitcoin because the CME gap was closed and we see a beautiful pump to the top side. So let's see if Uptober is starting from today. Please leave a like if you find this video useful, follow me on my other socials, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.